Hello, the troopers, and welcome back to a very special edition here on General Cannabis Bunker. We got an amazing guest, an amazing panel of hosts. So let's not waste any more time. I know you love hearing me and just me, but today I got to share the spotlight. All right. So we got some awesome guests to help me with this amazing guest and interview. We got my friend, my brother, my superior when it comes to YouTube. We got our man Star Wars Sid. Tony, welcome.
What's up, guys?
Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you for helping me out here. So
Of
it's gonna be
course,
a
of
fun
course.
night. We
Yep.
got some more co-hosts here, so let's keep the ball rolling. We got our friend, the absolute winner of the ICCC when it comes to shopping, the sweeper of hot toys, the leave no deal behind. We got Joe from JMC Collect. What's
What's
up,
up, man?
brother?
What's up, man? When you know, you know.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're far
And
too kind.
nah, I don't know about that, dude. You outdid us all out there, man. But we'll talk
Yeah.
more about that. And we got the man, the myth, the legend, the sultan of negotiation, the I'm going for your kneecaps, strategist, the man without, we would not have our vintage X-wings if it wasn't for this gentleman right here. We got
Yep.
Mike, the OGest of geeks. Welcome, brother.
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me, man.
What's up?
What's going on, chat?
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming in. This is gonna be a super awesome, super fun stream, guys. So in case you didn't read the headline for this live stream at all for some reason, we got a very very special guest tonight. We're gonna be talking to the man who was like, you know what, Lucasfilm, those amateurs, they're just not doing it right. This is not the way a Star Wars convention should be. I think I can do better. And guess what? Not only did he was a visionary in that, he actually did do better. So the man who is responsible for one of my favorite cons of all time, honestly, and I think most of the guys here can
Yep.
can agree on that. Let's just bring him in. We want to talk to him. We want to pick his brain. We want to tell him thank you. So we got Michael Havens, the creator, the originator, the man behind the ICCCon. Welcome, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up, fellas? Thanks so much
What's
for
up?
having me. I appreciate it.
What's up, man?
Now,
Hey.
thank you for joining us here, man. Yeah, dude. So welcome here to the bunker. We appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for chatting with us, and I can I can safely say thank you for putting on one of the best Star Wars cons that we've been to. Hands down.
Hands
Thank you
down.
very much, man. Well, it's not just me, it's a bunch of collectors and real Star Wars nerds that come together and make this thing happen. So that's why it turns out like that, man. We know what you want because we are you.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So, guys, here, if for whatever reason you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Michael Havens is, he just brought up a good point. So, he's one of us first and foremost, right? He
Yep.
is a collector himself, right? He is not exactly there. You go,
Mm.
love it. He is a fan of Star Wars, right? All things Star Wars, and more specifically, he's a collector and a fan of the vintage, Star Wars toys, right?
Yep.
So he has been basically involved in many things, first of all, but maybe the one that stands out the most is the Imperial Commissary Group, right?
Yeah.
And those guys, again, in case you don't know, yeah, absolutely love it. In case you don't know, guys, it's an amazing group on Facebook. I'm part of it. I have been for a couple of years now, and it is just a wealth of resources when it comes to Star Wars vintage, knowledge. So the figures, the playsets, the correct card, the hey, don't take a repro type of thing. The we'll help you out match, whatever version blaster goes with your figure. Dude, those guys are, just geniuses when it comes to that. All right. So I'm always in awe of just the amount of knowledge that all of those guys have. And so again, within those ranks, Michael, stands out even more prominently in there. But so he decided, right? He's like, you know what, guys, I think we can do better, right? So he got together with a bunch of other collectors, right, other fans,
Yeah.
and just other people that wanted to do good, right, by other collectors, and they decided to create the ICC Con, right? Um, So the one that we attended, all of us here in the panel, we attended this year, right? A month ago, actually, in May, and this was the fifth
Yep, yep.
ICC. Yeah, exactly. Hence the logo. But so he's been doing this for a little bit now. This was the first time, right, in the new venue, in the new place. Huge place, guys. I think y'all have seen him, in Joe's, in Mike's, in Tony's, in mine video. And
Do you guys like the place?
I
Definitely.
loved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
loved it.
neat, man. It's something different for sure.
absolutely.
It was nice to have room where you could walk around and see everything and not bump into people. Like that was a weird feeling and a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see,
definitely.
that's what happens when you're giant like me and 6'8". Like the number one priority on the list is enough room to walk with a backpack.
Yeah.
You know?
There you go. Beautiful. Well, from one big guy to another, I appreciate you because it was
Yeah,
very,
me
very
too.
comfortable.
I bet you at the show, man. You can fit in my pocket.
I'm not tall. I'm nowhere near as tall as you are, but yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I think the grand majority of us here have experienced, some of the bigger name cons, right? Like, whether it be Star Wars Celebration, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, MegaCon out there in Florida, all of those, right? We've been to different. But I think one thing in common, right, when it comes to those is one, like you said, just sometimes just the layout doesn't help, right? It just physically it just doesn't work, right? They don't really take into account the volume of people that are just going to be walking through, standing there, all of that stuff, right? So it gets kind of uncomfortable. So one thing that I loved about the layout for the ICCCon this year was, again, new place, and you basically had sections, right? You had like even buildings that had something going on, some different phase of the con, was taking place at different buildings even. So you could pinpoint and just direct yourself to what you were interested in. So if you wanted to see the panels, that was a building for that, right? If you just wanted to shop, there was the main building for that. If you just wanted to play video games, there was another building for that, that kind of stuff, right? So very cool, very comfortable, because that way, everybody knew more or less where to go, depending on their particular interest, right, of the con. So everybody had a good time. You were obviously with people that were enjoying the same thing as you were, because again, you kind of were sectioned off, right, by event. So I thought that was great. But I'll tell you what, the chat is on fire right now. So let me try to catch up here. We got the basement. I'm gonna be waiting here for a long time. So he sent that last night.
He's been waiting for the stream.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody was very, very excited about this, and we appreciate you, the basement. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thank you for holding on for like 23 hours. We got Trooping with Robin. Appreciate you stopping by, Robin. Thank you so much.
Robin.
So Robin,
Thank
guys,
you.
once again, she's a member of the 501st Legion here in Texas. She just dropped the video for the Fan Expo days. And go check it out, because it gives great insight to some of the behind the scenes of what these guys go through. I mean, they herself and her husband Benjamin got there like at 3:30 in the morning just to try to set up. They didn't have a room for them. It was kind of nuts. All right, so definitely go check out their latest video. Joe saying hi to Robin. Joe saying hi to Basement. We got GeForce in the house. What's up, brother? Appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you so much. We got our friend Elijah. Flex wins. Thank you so much for coming in, man. And Joe pulling double duty. Look at him, saying hi in the chat. Love it. We got Tony also pulling double duty. Man, you guys are ahead of me already. Love it. Ultra Carter Silla, James Nicholas, you will pay for taking my glory. I almost won yesterday, and now you will face the grad of the.
I'm screwed.
So what Ultra Carter Silla is referencing to is I actually had my 2-year YouTube anniversary last night, and we did a stream where we had some giveaways. And Ultra Carter Silla was the second to last name on one of those giveaways, but the actual winner was Joe right here. So yeah, that was pretty close. Everybody saying hi to each other, including me. LeBron Fed, what's up, brother? Thank you so much for being here, man. Appreciate you. We got JP Field Retro Toys. Hey, what is going on? Thank you so much for joining the stream. Appreciate you, man. So we got a super duper mod, Rolando. So Rolando is basically, the multiversal moderator. He's in every stream on YouTube for, I don't know how he does it. Nobody's sure that he's even a real person, but he is everywhere at once. So we appreciate you, Rolando. Thank you so much. Everybody saying hi. Appreciate you guys. And Rolando saying hi to everybody. Look at him.
Rolando's great, man. You see him putting in all the links to the back end for everybody you're talking about? He's
Exactly.
phenomenal. You
So
need to put him on the payroll, man.
yeah, no, like I said, he is our ultra, moderator here on the channel and many channels actually. And so guys, like Michael mentioned, if you see a link dropped here in the chat, go check it out. If it's a YouTube, go follow it, check out some of the videos, comment, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. But there's still many more messages, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here today. So all of us here right now on screen, we had a blast at your convention, Michael, and it was myself and Tony's first ICCC, and you were gracious enough to first of all to give us this guys here, which
the press badge.
Yeah.
thank you so much for that.
Good access, huh?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Amazing. Thank you so much for it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
No,
Yeah,
well,
that just
thank you for the coverage, man. That's why people find out about this. I can only shout from my soapbox so much. I need folks like you talking about it too.
Yeah, then absolutely, and trust me, we've been, like I said, we've been just talking about it for the better part of a month here.
Oh, I've been seeing it, man. When I went fishing, I was just typing in the hashtag, man. And it's the first year that the hashtag's like totally working.
Yeah,
people are actually usually after the thing, I'm like, here's some pictures from ICCCon. You know what I mean? Now I'm hands off, and it's just happening. It's phenomenal. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
No, man, we appreciate you, and like I said, I speak for myself. When you actually granted me access for for the media pass, this was late last year already, and my channel was super small, all of that stuff, but you guys still were cruel enough to let me join you guys, and like I said,
I'll tell you how it works. What we do, we look into the YouTube channel, and even if it's a bit smaller, man, we look into the quality of it and the effort that they're putting in. You did regular shows, and if you stay regular and are consistent, also your shows are very clean, and also, man, you just look behind you and you're not in this thing for a week. So, you're like all of us, it's just
exactly
everywhere you go. But it's so once we see those things, once we see somebody who will, because see, the thing is it's a very different convention. Some people go to conventions and they want the exclusive Funko Pop. It's not that kind of convention. What we do is we try to bring in the actual heart of this community. You guys are the ones that keep it alive. You're the ones that keep it alive during the year when it's cold outside, when there's COVID and there is no conventions. So that's why it's so important to us that when we see the potential of that's why, man, you ever tell me to share something or pass along something or pop up something, I'm always happy to do it. And it's because we are the three things for the Imperial Commissary. You're part of the Imperial Commissary. I'm sure you've seen some of my live videos, and I end them all the same exact way. I say it's very easy to be a good member of the IC. All you have to do is three things. You have to teach, you have to learn, and you have to grow the hobby. And as long as we see those three things in a podcast, I don't care if you got 50 followers or 5,000 followers or 50,000 followers. Well, if you got 50,000 followers, maybe I'll hook you up with some extra stuff. But as long as you're in it, man, with the love of the game, I don't know if you ever saw that Kevin Costner movie, man, but the love of the game, you actually have that heart where you do it when you're playing hurt. You do it when you got other stuff going on. You do it when you're busy, when you're tired, when you're whatever. And that's so important because there's so many people out there, as you can see with your comments here, there's so many people out there that rely on you guys to come through every week or every month or every year and rely on all of us to do these things. So I don't know, man. I'm just happy to be part of the crowd and part of the community here. And I'm so happy that people in the community like you guys not only come, shoot, man, some of you guys, OG Geek, Star Wars, stuff like that, you guys are just, you got big things and big followings and big this and big that. And it's the sheer fact that they come allows us to bring other people, which allows us to really give a chance, man. how much content did you get, brother? I'm quite sure that it's
A
helped your
lot.
numbers
Oh,
hanging out with
dude,
the
yeah.
ICCC thing.
Yeah.
But that's what we want to do, because the more we can grow this, you know, it was cool, man. And I posted up a post the other day, but I got reached out to in downtown Nashville. There's some bar that's doing like a Star Wars band, some band where they dress up like Star Wars characters and they play or whatever. And they're like, hey, do you think you could give out some free tickets? Because we'd like people to start to know about this.
Right.
Man, 5 years ago in Nashville, you could go to like Star Wars night at a Predators game. There would be like 2 people there. Like it just had no following, and just
Yeah.
to see it happening, to see it organically, like my email just pop, and it's kind of crazy, like, because
I bet.
my life was like normal, and I'm just normal. Like I got a trucking company, you know, and now it's like, all right, let's have a meeting. I'm going to be flying in from LA, and blah blah blah. I'd like to do this, and I'd like to do that, and you're just like, hey, listen, man, the whole thing I'm trying to do is not ruin this. So you know what I mean? Like I'm turning down a lot of. I always listen, but I'm turning down a lot of the. Well, we want to do this, and we can bring you the Funkos, and we can bring you the, you know, and if we start doing those, like where you put on the, and I'm not picking on any of the corporate cons, man. Corporate cons have their purpose. They are like the world's best TV commercial release ever. I love them for it. But the thing is once you start getting into that, then they start choosing what you can do and what you can't do.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to let me have a demolition derby flying with a helicopter flying over it. But I've never seen that at another convention. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do that, man. Like all the cosplay people, I always talk to the cosplay people because I hook up 501st, Mando Mercs, even Cosplay Collective, any local cosplay groups, because they also grow the hobby. And I talk to them and they're like, oh, we don't get any discount at any other con. And it's like, what are you kidding? You're an attraction for the convention. You should get it in free, period. What's the problem? And so those kind of things would have to change.
Right.
The sodas would go away from $3 and be $9.
Right.
You know what I mean? Parking would be charged for. Dude, you should have seen how many times the venue was like, how are you not charging for parking? That's like $30,000 you're going to lose. And I'm like, dude, if I charge for parking, then people are going to decide whether or not to bring their car. They're going to think it's a hassle. They're going to think this and think that. And I don't want to charge for parking because that's the whole point. That's the reason why I don't go downtown, is because if you go downtown, people are paying $45 each to park. And then what do you got to do? You guys got to go choose from 30 different hotels that are $700 a piece a night.
Right.
And that ends up taking the whole community and poof, spreads out. And then you got some poor people in the Nights Inn down in a sketchy part of town because it was $69 on Travelocity and they didn't know. You know what I mean? So that's why I try to completely move that and make, I'm all about safety, and I'm all about bringing a happy time where there is no bad that happens. And if you go check around, I mean, that's why our security, it's so much more in depth and bigger than any other security and tighter than any other security at anything. I don't care. It could be a friggin' Democratic National Convention rally or whatever, and there's less security than we have. But you also walk up to those security guards, and that's what the wonderful part is. This is where the heart is. And you go, what's your favorite Star Wars character? And they'll spit you back at one and tell you about their collection. Nice. And the reason why is because everybody in this show, from the very top to the very bottom, is a nerd, a Star Wars nerd or a collecting nerd or something, someone that loves what they do. And that's why when you guys walk into the podcast room and it's beautiful and there's stages and mics and this and that, and that's because Jim Orman loves what he does. And then you go into the table game room and you have Dungeons and Dragons and Sabacc and all these things you can learn how to play, Warhammer, whatever. And that's because Dave O'Brien loves that stuff. But he also is a Star Wars collector. You know what I mean? Right. I was at Celebration in Chicago, and I was drinking Crown Royal out of a double telescoping Darth Vader lightsaber that was his, that he carries in his so the guy that runs our Dungeons and Dragons room, literally his carry figure is a double telescoping Darth Vader. It doesn't have the inner, but still. It's like, and he's like, I had it since I was a kid. And I'm like, yeah, but bro, it's like the DT Vader, put it on a shelf.
I know, right?
But that's everybody from the top down. Crystal Bumpus, who is wonderful, and she does 501st, and she does cosplaying and all these different things, but she also ran our circus. And she also ran the show in the evening at the hotel. I don't know if any of you guys caught that. But she's just wonderful, but she's also a Star Wars nerd.
Right.
Like she's always in the store. She collects the lightsabers, like tons of them. And that's the thing. We're all collectors, and we're all different collectors, and it's okay. Every collection is great, man. Whether it's 3 figures or 300 figures, it's your own personal preference. It was you saying at some point, you know what? I love this stuff so much, I'm going to dedicate a shelf to it. And if you did that, if you already crossed that line and you're over the age of 10, you're one of us.
Yeah.
You don't know it yet. You don't know how deep you're in yet, but you get there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I mean, it shows, right? I think I told these guys, when we were in the con, I'm like, one thing that I love is, first of all, the staff, right? The staff is everywhere, and everywhere that they actually need to be too, right? And they're not just all clumped up in one corner and not out on the floor or things like that. So whenever we had a question, it's like, hey, would you happen to know where the podcast stage is, or something like that. Most people had the right answer, right? And if for whatever reason they didn't have it at that point, they would reach out to somebody else right away and try to get you the answer. I mean, I know Tony is a veteran of Star Wars Celebration. I've been to a couple myself, and oh man, that's one of the worst feelings when you walk up to those guys that are supposed to know, right? And you're like, hey man, can you point me out to whatever this room? And they're like, and you can see the fear in their face. Like, I have zero clue what you're talking about, right? I have no idea what you're asking me, nor how to get the information, right?
I like it ones like that where you walk through the metal detector, but they let you bring in a crate around the metal detector.
Yeah, exactly.
You mind if I jump in here?
No, it's
You mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for you. I know that we're gonna talk about collecting and all that stuff on here. That's a given. We all know you're a huge collector. I mean, we all are. I want to hear, if you don't mind, if it's okay, I want to hear some horror stories, man. I want to hear about your first show and tell me like the worst thing that happened to you, because I'm sure that people see your show now and they think you got it all figured out, right? Which you do, because I went last year and it was great and it was packed, and me and my boys, I mean, we were like 20 deep. We had a blast, all right?
It was too tight.
It was not, but it was fun. It was a great show. I give you props. But I'm sure it didn't start out that way.
No.
So can you tell us a little something, like just some horror stories from the first one?
Yeah, man.
Like what went into like
some of the growing pains, right?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
The way it started off, to tell you the truth, it was because of smack talking around a couple friends in a VIP room at something that's already been mentioned at this show. And I got a $750 badge around my neck, $750 badge around my wife's neck, and I'm drinking a $9 Coca-Cola, eating a $35 plate of orange chicken. I would have feed my worst enemy, and I was ticked off, man, because I was just standing in a line for 3 hours to pay for convention merch with a VIP badge on, which is bonkers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm looking at the tepid water cooler in the corner, and actually Dave O'Brien, who runs the video or the table games, was sitting there. And I slammed down my Coke and I go, we can do this better. It's nonsense. So then, being me, what do? I go straight to the IC, which is a massive Facebook group, and I pop up a live video and I go, I'm throwing a convention because it's nonsense. This corporate nonsense is nonsense. And it's going to be for collectors, and there's going to be free parking, and there's going to be cheap sodas, and I'm just shooting myself in the foot over and over, and I don't even know it yet,
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, let's go. So if anybody knows anything and let's reach out and help out, cool. Like, let's find out how to do this and whatever. But so what happens is Philip Brown, my convention manager, wonderful guy, he reaches out. Because he used to listen to my podcast back in the day. I used to do Collectors Galaxy podcast a million years ago. And he reaches out and he's like, man, I listen to your podcast. He's like, do you need some help with the convention? I happen to be a convention manager for the Rotary Clubs of America. So I'm like, all right, awesome. So I get him, and then Nat Raines reaches out with security, and I get him, and blah, 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 blah. And all these people start reaching out, and it's great. And then we start planning it, right? And so what I do is, first and foremost, it was a giant rodeo. So the first thing that people don't think about is that, here, I'm going to give you all the things that I didn't think about year one. That were like, oh my God. But, so what happens is it's a big circle, then there's a bunch of chairs. And the thing is, you can't really measure that perfectly because it's like high-end calculus or something. And I'm just like this is my calculator. That's as far as I go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is not a TI-83. I don't know what I'm doing with angles. So we go in there and we measure, and we kind of measured, and it was too short. So the tables show up, and the tables are like, oh man, it looked thin. And I was like, oh no, it's terrible. Because there's 178,000 square feet. You don't realize how big that is till you're trying to fill it. So then we put a whole bunch of people in it. We put a whole bunch of movie stars, right? And then Shatner is my first horror story. And he's a sweetheart, wonderful man, consummate professional, awesome. But my first freak out show is Shatner, right? So Shatner's my big guest star. And the way I get him is I just was cold calling every single celebrity on the internet that I could find a phone number of. Being like, hi, I'm going to throw a convention. My name's Mike Havens. I'm down in Nashville, Tennessee. Would you like to come down and blah, blah, blah? What are you going to cost? And Shatner was the only one that bit. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's William Shatner, man. Everybody knows William Shatner, easy peasy. So I make a deal with Shatner, and he comes, and so his flight gets delayed, and I'm like, oh, crap, he's not coming. You know, everybody's going to think I'm a liar. For the past 6 months, I've been saying I'm going to put William Shatner in a barn in Tennessee, and everybody's like, you're a liar already. So what ends up happening, he does. He catches the red eye, man. So he catches the red eye. He's in there early in the morning, lands at the hotel. He's getting ready or whatever. I'm like, I have the news. I think it was at 12 noon or something, the noon news, or 4 o'clock or something. Anyway, so I have a live news that I have to do. Like, they're on site, Fox, and they had the big camera with the mics and the straps and all this, that, and the other. And so I go back. William Shatner gets there, right? And he's in the green room. Hello, Mr. Shatner. How are you? Thank you so much for doing the show. I really appreciate it. My name's Mike Havens, blah, blah, blah. He looks at my shirt. He goes, what's the matter, kid? You don't have a Star Trek shirt? And I said, I'm very sorry, Mr. Shatner, but I've never seen an episode of Star Trek. So I said, listen, we need to, and I look at him, right? And he is rough, bloodshot, just like I look after a night in Vegas on a red-eye flight. Like everyone looks after a night in Vegas on a red-eye flight. So he's sitting there, and I'm like, you okay, sir? Is there anything, are you okay? And the thing is, you always ask the agents, right? The agents. You always ask the agents, what does he need? What does he like? Oh, no, they're the easiest. Don't worry about it. They don't need nothing, because the agent's just trying to get the contract signed. You know what I mean? So they're the nicest person ever. They bring their own satchel of food. Don't worry about that, So they show up, and the first thing out of his mouth, I go, what can we get you anything at all? And man, because I back Googled every single interview he's done. And like I had Perrier water with cranberry juice for half and half mix. I had this certain kind of scotch. I had Cuban cigars in his room. You know what I mean? Like it was nice. And the thing is so he goes, I need a cup of English breakfast tea and I'll be good to go. And I'm like, dude, because what? So what we did, so just like you said, if there's a problem, we'll solve it. Well, I guess Vanilla Ice said it first, but you just said it earlier. And so what I did is I hop on the microphone. I'm like, hey, listen, we need some English breakfast tea. And everybody got any? And they're like, no. And I'm like, listen, go around to all the English people that are here and just ask them. So we're walking around, right? And the whole staff's going, hey, how you doing, mate? And you're like, you got English breakfast tea? Like totally inappropriate, but whatever. We're trying to fix a hole, Yeah. So anyway, Gary Bleach's wife, dude, all of a sudden, boom, she has a thing of English breakfast tea in her purse, man, and they're from England. So I was like, yeah. So we ran it back to Shatner, right? And I go, okay, Mr. Shatner, I have to go out and I have to start the interview now. Because I was doing the interview at the top of the show, and then he was coming back in 15 minutes later. And so I'm like, I have to go do my part of the interview. Then they're going to cut to the regular show. Then they're going to come back and do our interview with you out there. And he's like, I'll be fine. And I'm like, shoot. Because I mean, a sci-fi convention is a massive expense. Massive. So I have a lot of my real money and my life money in here in this pile to make this thing turn the lights on. And so I'm thinking, all right, my racehorse, my number one, my Seabiscuit is in the back trying to get through a cup of English breakfast tea so he can make it out here and not just be roughed up. So I go, okay, let's go out there. So, hey, how you doing? Come on down. ICCCon down here and blah, blah, blah. It was back in the day when I was like, ICCC. And so they did the interview part with me, and then Shatner rolls out, right? He's got a pair of Ray-Bans on, man. He rolls out, sits down on the stool. They hook up the mic to him, boom, 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 He's got the little iPhone, because they do everything on an iPhone with a microphone. Everybody, you guys with these $8 billion setups that you do, the news is like iPhone microphone. So he's got the iPhone in his back pocket, right? And he's sitting there, and he goes like this. He goes, and the guy is right there on the news, right? And I'm standing right next to him, right here. And I am just because it's like everything's on the line. This guy is gonna be like, "Hey, National," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Jeez." So all right, so I'm sitting there, and so they go, "All right, 5, 4," and he goes, "Boom." How you doing? I'm down here at ICCC down in Nashville, Tennessee. Come on down and see me. We're at, and he rattled off the address, the website, the bop, the bop,
Damn.
everything, crushed it.
Like a pro.
Crushed it. Segment ends, pops on his shades, goes back to the thing and starts signing. And then he did like an ice cream social with people. And then we're out at the guest star dinner that night. 11:30 at night, this man ate a steak, a baked potato, and a dessert. Champion. I would have died. I would have died, and I'm 40 years younger than him. 50 years younger than him.
So they didn't give you a rider beforehand? Like he didn't ask for anything specific?
Yeah. No rider. No, I'm telling you, none of these people give a rider, man. They all are the nicest people that require nothing in the world. They don't care. The riders are usually like first class flight, this certain hotel, this kind of stuff. You know, he had to stay at this one hotel, but just stuff like that. No, so they come with a guarantee. So I'm sitting there, right? And I'm like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh, there's so many people. Oh, it's going great. Blah, 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 blah. So the numbers are coming in, and I'm like, oh my God.
Hold on, real quick. I don't want to fast forward through this for the people that are watching at home. Can you explain the guarantee? So he pretty much he's guaranteed a certain amount that he's gonna make at the show. If not, then what? You're covering it, correct? Yes. Yeah. People understand because I'm trying to show people that it's. I mean, because like I said before, your show looks like it's going off without a hitch. You do, but there's a lot that could go wrong. There's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of risk, gamble,
and 2 brand new Benzes on Daredevil people this year. That was a swing and a miss.
Wow, they're that much, huh?
What are you gonna do? But no, and it's not something you think of. But you know what? I have such a Star Wars focus, and the community is so Star Wars focused. It was a little bit of a mistake, but they were wonderful people and people enjoyed seeing them. But you go into the Rebels panel and it's wall-to-wall humans. You go into the Daredevil panel and it's like way bigger mainstreamy type movie stars. And it's like half the people were in there. And it's just because that wasn't the perfect fit for us. But we tweak those kind of things all the time. The thing was that first time with Shatner, right? The Shatner thing, that guarantee... It was, I can't say because non-disclosures and all this and contracts, but it was X amount of dollars, and he made 17% of that X amount of dollars. Now it wasn't his fault, but him, Renee Aberjonis, Marina Sirtis, and nothing against them. I don't have a Star Trek. I didn't have Star Trek people to just be like, "Hey, Star Trek people, William Shatner is going to be here." It was like, "Hey, Star Wars people, William Shatner is going to be here." So it didn't really work that good. So at the end of that night, what I did is I wrote about, between all the guest stars that didn't hit their guarantees, and there were something like 15 guest stars there, I wrote about $183,000 worth of checks of loss. That was a loss. That year we lost, like 250 grand. It was terrible. It was stupid to do it again, but I was like, I'm gonna do it again because I want to do it again, and life get ups and downs.
Let's go to that real quick.
Yeah.
You just lost X amount of dollars, right? A lot. What in the world were you drinking? Were your buddies when you decided to do it again? Or, I mean...
No, man.
Because most people, I'm sorry, man, I'm a businessman as well. I take risk. I'm a gambler. But dude, if that was just in checks to the guarantees, okay, was the show at the door? Did you make what you expected?
No.
Okay, so
I still have I think it's something like 15,000 like day of flyers, like the book. That's why I don't do the book anymore. I'm scared to buy the books because I don't know how to count the numbers,
But the people at home understand then it was more of a loss than what you just mentioned. We don't have to talk numbers.
Oh yeah.
But you still decided I'm gonna do this again. Yeah, how does that happen? I want to see the mindset. I want to dive into that skull.
The reason why it happens is because from the beginning of this thing, I have always intended to make it a giant awesome fight with the big dogs convention. But I
Nice.
wanted to do that instead of taking 20 years or 25 years. I wanted to do it in 10. In order to do it in 10, you have to start it off on the first year. And that first year, whether it worked or not, or made money or not, it was a full scale, full size, big time convention, period. That means we came out of that gate running. And you know what, man? It wasn't a win, but it was a win as far as the people were concerned. People heard about us. And then my phone started ringing with bigger guest stars. And then my phone started ringing with other people that wanted to help and build this thing. Man, it's not a money maker, but the reason why is because we strip everything out of it that makes money for the giant corporate conventions. I mean, that's what we do. That's the whole point. Because see, none of us are in it for the money. It's not our real job. But we're in it for the love of the game. And so, yes, as a business decision, dude, it is the stupidest thing in the world. If you want to go into business to be a convention manager, do not do that. It is dumb. You will hemorrhage money and you will feel terrible about 40% of the time. But then people will write you and be like, oh, man, it really was a great time and I really loved it. And you'll be like, yeah, man. It's like, you know, it's those little, it's checks and balances with this thing. But it's if you want to make money in a convention, man, there is a model. It works. It is corporate. You go in there and you say, hey, listen, blah, blah, blah. I will contract you for these 15 shows I do, and we're going to spit you here to here to here. It's going to cost you half the price. We're going to bring in XYZ picture company that's going to sell your private signings in the back rooms, which are going to push up that money and get you that money. And that's what happens with these things. But if you go do that, it ruins it. So it's a very fine line between wasting too much money and ruining it. Now, the other thing is if you're trying to build a multi-million-dollar international convention, what's losing 300 grand? Like, what's losing the 200 grand next year, the 250 the next year, what's the losing? The losing doesn't matter because once 60,000 people are coming through the door, it all even out.
It's like every business, right? At the beginning, you're going to lose money. You have to take a risk. You got to start somewhere. So that's what your mindset was at pretty much.
Right. But it could have been start small with a toy show without the guest stars.
Yeah, but you wanted to make a name for yourself. You wanted to. Man. I mean, I heard about you, and I'm in Miami. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah. No, we're getting to be all over the place, and the reason why is because that Imperial Commissary Facebook group, man, it was an international group. Yeah. We play toys, and it has grown so much that the meetups went from 15 to 30 to 50 to 500 to 1,000, and then it was like, well, we got to get a place, you know. And I was just going to do a toy show, but then it just kind of snowballed. And the reason why I still do it, man, is because it's okay. There are these great movies that have been made in the history of time, and we all watch them, and they're the ones that make you really feel. Do you know what I mean? And this convention is one of those. It makes you really feel. It's different. It's not about the toys. It's not about the things. It's always about the people. Ask anybody that comes to ICCCon what their favorite part is, and it's that they got to hang out with their friends.
Yeah,
I say that all the time.
Same here. There's no money in that.
All the time.
Zero.
Priceless.
That's why the other ones don't want you to do it, because there's zero money in it. You go hang out with your friends, you do it afterwards, or you do it outside at the cigarette area, or you know what I mean? Like, when do you see your friends at a giant corporate one? You don't. You're walking. You don't. Doing this. You go with the people you go with.
Perfect example for those of you watching at home. I'm not saying this because he's here. These three gentlemen that are here with us, right, that I'm with right now. I mean, I never really hung out with them. We became really good friends at this con. Yeah. Like we clicked, we bonded, we went on a little mission, a little hunt together. And, you know, now we have our own private group and everything. And now, you know, we're chilling all the time. We're already planning trips to other cons and definitely ICCC next year. Yeah. So that's what I always say is about the people. I'm actually, it's not as, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody here already knows, but I'm making a documentary and that's what my documentary focuses on.
Yes.
Like there's toys in it, but it's more about the community and the bonds, because I've made so many friends because of this hobby. Yeah. And this is the type of place where we get to click, because a lot of us, we live all over the country. Yeah. So you go to shows like ICCC. If anybody that saw my last year ICCC video, I mean, there was like 20 of us there. And none of us, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 of us were from the same state. Everybody else was from all over the country. So the fact that he's doing this show is allowing us as collectors to connect with other people that have the same interests, the same hobbies, the same passions, the same, we have a lot in common already.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's what I love about
I,
going to
I
cons.
agree.
I love
Like,
that about going to cons.
yeah, because if anybody watches any of our 4 videos from ICCC, I'm 100% sure that all of us said it didn't matter what we bought, it didn't matter what we did. The most important thing we got out of it was we had 3 new brothers, and we made 3 lifelong friends that we bonded, like Mike said, and that was the most important thing. If you watch any of our videos, we all say the same thing. We didn't care what we did buy some cool stuff. We saw some cool things, but we walked away with. I walked away with Tony, Mike, and Jose as friends for life, and you can't ask for more than that, man. You don't get that anywhere else. So, thank you for that, and that's all because of you. Because I would have never met these gentlemen unless it was for this. Probably. I mean, I did meet OG last year at ICC. We talked briefly
at ICCC.
At
exactly.
ICCC,
right?
Yeah.
We did. Yep. And
yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for more than that. And if you go back and watch our videos, we all say that in one of the videos, or maybe all the videos.
Here's a funny story about Joe. I met Joe at ICCC last year, right? But we didn't really hang that much. We hung out more this year. But we did see each other at the courtyard. And this guy, mind you, he went by himself. And he's hanging with like another 40 people, right? I think you met at that. You met at the show. Me and my friends are drinking all night, right? And at one point, we're all start getting hungry. And here comes Joe with his 40 new friends that he met at CCC with like 80 pizzas. We're all so jealous of him.
Yeah. It was cool as hell, man. Like, I met those guys and girls. My wife went with me as she usually does, but like we just started talking to people. And then I met a couple of people, and the table just grew. The table just grew, and it was like somebody walked up with pizzas, and we're like, "Who got these? Who can we pay?" They were like, "Just enjoy," and we're like, "This is crazy." It's like a family already, and we just met these people. So yeah, it was cool.
So really quick, then we could get off the topic. Year 2.
Oh, I didn't
assuming.
Finish.
Okay,
Go ahead. The last and worst thing of year 1 that I didn't know is that when you pay for a giant venue, there is a line item in there that is for maintenance and cleaning at the end that you pay for. And I didn't know. So my wife, I, and Stephen Constantino walked around the 178,000 square foot venue and swept every last inch of it. They told me about that line item the next day, and they did not refund me for it. But that was the worst part of the first year. Was,
wait, so you cleaned it?
Yeah, and that's why Stephen Constantino always gets to come back. He literally stood there and pushed a broom with us.
Wow.
The Grammarian Guard.
Wow.
Sweetheart, good guy. But people are always like, because I'm like, well, we really can't have people back 3 years in a row because it just doesn't really work, But people are like, you always have Stephen Constantino back. And I'm like, he pushed a broom year 1. It was me, my wife, and Stephen Constantino. He could come to forever, But yeah, man. No, okay, go ahead. Year 2.
Year 2. I'm assuming we've learned. We've gotten more experience now. How did that go? Was that now?
It was great.
Is that the reason we have a 5th one?
So I went in the whole nother direction, and I'm like, you know what, man? What people really want is they want a whole bunch of people so they can get like 1 million autographs at once. So if you got a Star Wars poster, because I'm thinking like a nerd,
Yeah.
Like, if you got a Star Wars poster, you just walk in, you get 40 autographs, and that's great, and you're done, and you got your poster. So what I did is I went with like 40 actors and actresses from all like Stormtroopers or Lee Love Serlin or all like backgroundy-ish characters that like never come to America. And that year I lost a fortune. And the reason why is because I didn't really think of it ahead of time. I'm like, all right, so you don't got Shatner, which is X amount of dollars, so you can spread that out, And I'm picking up these people because I finally got a little bit of a name, So they're like, oh, I want to come. I hear it's a great show for Star Wars. Yeah, sure. I'm giving out sures like they're hotcakes at a breakfast at church, And so, yeah, sure. Come on out. So I got 42 airfares from England and 42 hotel rooms and 42 trips to the airport and back. And that was 40 minutes at the time because it was down in Franklin. And then, so these are all things you don't think about. And then the guest star dinner, instead of it being 18 people, it's 50. and that comes out, you know. That's
Oh.
so I didn't think of that, and I totally went upside down and backwards, right? So anyway, whatever. So we did that one, and that was fine, and it was super awesome. Everybody had a great time, and we're like, all right, what we got to do is we got to move downtown, because I was sitting on a golf cart with Daniel Logan, right? And Daniel Logan's like, dude, you got to go downtown, man. He's like, you got to bring this. You got to bring it downtown. It'll blow up if you bring it downtown, because it's a good show. And he's like, you got to make sure to have at least one major actor. He's like, or else it doesn't play right. And he's like, but anyway, it's a really great show, and I love it. And we became really good friends, and we've always talked. And so what I did is I was like, all right, we'll try it downtown. So I went, we did the Music City Sheridan. And as soon as I got the building, like literally, as soon as I signed the paper, it was like, now announcing there's COVID-19. And I was like, so we didn't even, what were you going to do? So what we did is we kept planning as if we'd still be able to do it. And so we kept planning. I bought about, $15,000 worth of hand sanitizers and laser wands and masks and this, that, and the other. And then we did it though. And that was that one where everybody was masked up. And it was the very first convention that ever came back during COVID. And I won Convention Promoter of the Year. And they brought me out to Las Vegas for that. I got a really cool Super Bowl ring, which is not up here. I'd show you. But they brought me out to Vegas for that. And that's because we were the very first ones to institute during COVID to show it could still happen. I'm very, very sorry, but we are definitely the fault that there was that stupid acrylic wall for 2 years. Sorry. But it all, we were just, because the reason why is we were like, okay, we're going to lose money, but who cares? Because we want a place to get together and meet. We haven't seen each other for a year and a half. It was at the time, because we switched venues and had to remeasure. And so we just did it, and people came. But there we lost money as well. And then year 4, you guys came, and it exploded. It exploded. And we made...
Yeah, that one I know that you didn't lose money in, because that thing.
Yeah, no. We made it. It was like a few $100 though. Because see, the thing is all our expenses went up. Like, just for example, usually like our bill for water and sodas and stuff, it would be from Sam's Club. So we could go to Sam's Club, we could get, $5,000 worth of soda is a lot of soda. If you're buying it at the Sheridan, 4-star Sheridan in Nashville, it's not. So just our food and beverage bill, which is only the stuff for the guest stars and like just their green room, and waters and sodas for the staff and security and whatever else, and it was $63,000.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, dude. So that's just like boom, But we did all right. And the problem is, in order for that to be properly profitable, okay, where all the people that come could actually get their airfares and hotel rooms paid for, because we all pay this out of pocket, man. You're looking at my security guys, and they're like buying that hotel room and driving here, And so what happens is we go into it, and it's good, but there was nowhere else to put another single human being. It was full. So we had to get a bigger venue. So we went to the bigger venue, and the only problem, honestly, man, with the bigger venue this year were 2 things. Daredevil, I swung and a miss, but they were sweetheart people, and it's not their fault at all. It's just I had the wrong crowd. And then the other thing was Memorial Day weekend. It killed me. It killed me as far as attendance somewhat. Every time I drove by the lake, there were 1,000 boats on it, and I'm like, Mike, you dumb, how long you been living here? You're dumb. And so I kind of berated myself for that one enough already. But then the only other issue this past year was that Memorial Day. Oh, you know why else? Memorial Day for flights killed me. The Emperor's flight cost me $18,000.
Ouch.
But that's
damn.
First class remaining on Memorial Day, man. That's the price.
Yeah.
It's,
dang.
It's not his fault. Does he deserve first class? Absolutely. Should it go into that? Absolutely. But if it wasn't Memorial Day, that same exact flight is about $6,000.
Wow.
I didn't know that until I'm buying flights 2 months before. You know what I mean? So we don't have it all perfected yet, but we have learned from every single year, and every single year has gotten better. And as long as we're giving a wonderful experience to the people that come, that's the most important thing, because that's the thing you can't fix. That's the thing you can't replace. You do a bad show, that's that. As far as making money, man, who cares? This isn't what I do for a real job. In real life, I own a trucking company and logistics brokerage and move containerized freight out of New York and New Jersey. All those little puff pastries and the little plastic tubs in Walmart's freezer are me. So I'm fine. But eventually, I want this to make enough that it can pay for itself. So that way, if anything ever does happen to me or to my wife or anything, it can go on forever because it's something this community needs. A place where you're not going to get banged up, where you can go once a year to be with your friends, to be with your family. And that's all we're trying to do. So these other things, man, I don't have kids. And I happen to, in 2006, I started my trucking company. It's done very, very, very well. And so I'm very blessed. So people buy Ferraris and Lambos. I'm way too big to fit in them. So why not throw a convention, right?
Absolutely, man.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for that. Thank you for having that vision. Thank you for sticking to it, man. I mean, geez, I don't know that, I don't know that I would be able to, right? To be
Yeah.
honest with you, because
Not many
dang.
would.
yeah, absolutely, not many would. So it definitely takes a special kind of man to stick to their guns and be like, no, this is gonna work.
Mhm.
And so
Crazy
yes,
person,
well, we'll call it a dedicated, type of person.
Yeah.
But and we appreciate, by the way, you sharing like those stories with us, because it definitely helps us here understand, and of course the chat and the people watching at home understand everything that goes into something like this, right? I mean,
lot.
just the amount of effort, let alone money, of course. We've thrown some big numbers out there for sure, but just the amount of effort, of dedication, of passion, right, to get
Yeah.
to get something like this, first of all, off the ground, build momentum, and just keep going, right? Like you said, COVID could have easily been, that's it, right? We're
Killed a lot
done.
of cons.
Yeah,
Lot of-
exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and we all felt it, right? So my hats off to you, and thank you again for sticking to it. Thank you for making it work. Thank you for pushing it each and every year. So last year is when I've heard about the con, of course, I think from the first one, but last year is when I was watching OG Geeks video. I was watching Joe. Well, Joe didn't put a video yet. He didn't have his channel yet. But a bunch of the YouTubers that I used to watch, and I'm like, dude, what is this place again? Like, what is going on? Like, why is everybody having a blast? Like, what is this convention? And so I was like, no, like I have to be there. And I think it was very similar with Tony. I think
Yeah. So for me, I saw OG's video and it was titled Best Star Wars Show Ever. And I
Yeah.
was like, what? And I was like, what is ICCCon? And
See,
I
you
watched
worth every penny, OG.
yeah. So I watched this video.
I earned my press pass.
yeah, oh yeah.
I watched this video and I'm like, yo, this place looks amazing. I have to go next year. So next year came, applied for press pass, got approved, went, and literally 10 minutes in on the first day, I already said I'm coming next year because I already know this is where I want to be. I had that feeling 10 minutes in on the first day.
Mhm.
And I literally, the month before, I was at London Celebration, right? I had the same amount of fun in those 3 days at ICC in Nashville, Tennessee, that I did at London Celebration, which is crazy.
Mhm.
I can honestly say that it was the same amount of fun. So
Yeah, he actually did say that too. Like we
Yeah,
walked
he
in,
literally, yeah.
like me, Tony, and Jose that first day walked in, and we all looked around and we're like, this
Yeah.
place is humongous. And he's like, I'm coming back next year.
Oh yeah.
10 minutes
And
in,
both of them,
10
I think,
minutes
said
in,
it.
sold.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
happy as a little kid at Toys
Yeah.
R Us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think the only maybe slight modification that I think Tony and myself will do for next year is try to stay at the host hotel so we can be part of those.
Yeah, me too.
Room sales.
Yeah, those
the
room
lobby
sales,
swap.
those lobby swaps. Yeah, dude,
yes.
that was
Yeah,
so freaking
well, you
cool.
can always go over even if you're not at the host hotel. But it
Yeah,
does
we
make
did.
it-
We did,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did, but I want to stay there and just walk out into it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Get drunk and go right to bed. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Like
something
last year.
special, man. It really is. It doesn't happen too many places, and that's all organic, man. And now they're starting to have shows, and they're doing parties, and they're doing meetups, and it's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I'm sorry, Chad, I have not been ignoring you. We've just been enthralled with the stories that Mike have been telling us. So I've been displaying some of the stuff, here in the chat, and basically saying, congratulations, to Michael. You definitely are the man, and a lot of people already kind of sold on the show,
Yeah.
So we
Yep.
definitely want to definitely want to participate next year, right? I think we've pretty much all made that clear. We're pretty stoked about it. But I wanted to ask, maybe one of the last few questions here as we're nearing the 1 hour mark. In your mind, right? You mentioned sort of like a 10-year, plan, right? Of, hey, I want to be right up there, right, with everybody else, all of those big names.
Mhm.
So, where do you see, the con, let's say in like 3 more years, right? Like 3/4 of the way there.
Well, 3 more years we should be there, because my 10-year plans, I try to beat them out. Not to be that
Nice.
guy, but it's kind of there as a safety net more than a plan. But no, where do I see it, man? I see it hopefully.
5
If it's not
helicopters.
at this venue, I like honestly what I've been trying to do, but it's pie in the sky. I probably need people to like come out of the woodwork and be like, I happen to be a billionaire and like Star Wars toys. But I kind of would really like to buy a place,
Wow.
purchase about 150, 200 acres and start from scratch. Make it
Wow.
as a convention center, but as a convention center for our kind of conventions.
Right.
So there aren't weird hallways and weird this and weird that doesn't fit. That's pointless. So it actually works. And then what I could do is I could make it a convention center that normal conventions could rent, instead of it being a place where, because that's the thing, Nashville needs it, man. It could use a spot where it's not unbelievably expensive. Or the biggest problem with this place, man, is it's like, I love it, but it's completely controlled, government controlled, and it's 5 different. Those things that you saw that were there are 5 different government facilities run by 5 separate teams of government people. So there is a secretary, there is a treasurer, there is a blah blah blah, there is a blah blah blah, and I'm talking to all 45 of them, trying to get them all on the same page. But it may as well be like I'm talking to the IRS and I'm talking to the local police and I'm talking to, and they don't talk to each other. Like literally, man, it was so bonkers. Like the building where our tickets were, it doesn't have Wi-Fi, but there is Wi-Fi and Ethernet 12 feet away, but they won't share.
Right.
Like literally, I could run a cable and they're like, you can't do that. And it's
Wow.
like, why? You know what I mean? So that's the biggest problem with that. And if you could get all that nonsense, whether it's government or corporate or whatever, I mean, literally what I'm waiting on right now to get the dates, to figure out dates, because the best they can give me is Memorial Day of next year. I currently have, what is it called? An audience with the mayor. Like,
Look
what?
at you. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, which is like crazy to me because, but still, an audience with the mayor in order to just like rent a building. Like,
Right.
Doesn't it seem a bit extra involved? Shouldn't you just have like an add to cart like Amazon or something? I don't know.
Right.
But so we'll figure it out, man, and we'll keep driving forward. Where do I see it in 3 years? I actually have lots of plans, man. I have one idea that's completely bonkers insane that I want to do, and I can't share it completely here.
That's all right.
But it definitely involves movement, a lot of movement in a very short span, like a week, and possibly like 4 conventions in a week in different countries. But we'll see what happens. That's a really long reach and a dream, but we'll see. But as far as this, man, I would love to have my own place, and that way I could build it out and make it proper. And then I could say, hey, listen, 501st, instead of you having to carry that bunker around, why don't you just build it here and we'll keep it in the back?
Boom. Yep.
And then you can have the best of the best, and you could have sneaker conventions, and you could have all these other conventions like gamer conventions or anime conventions, where it's like the promoter doesn't have $1 billion to go downtown like the NFL draft, but they need a place to go, So I'd really like to do that eventually, but honestly, man, I just want it. I want it to be big, because if we can make it big, then we can show more than just the Star Wars community or the convention community, but we can show the world that you do not have to be a cold corporate evil empire, slashing, ripping, killing, stealing, dragging every last ounce of penny and pocket lint out of the fan's pocket in order to throw a convention.
Love it.
That's all I want to do, because if you show people that they can do it, other people will do it. And then maybe, just maybe, we have a chance to have the the good movies again, where there's the important parts of the movie, where you know what I mean.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, man.
I have
Where
I
do
have a
not,
question
there
like
is no
spawning
try,
off of
you know
that.
what I mean? That is
Yeah.
why you fail. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Where is
yeah.
that? I want that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
I got
Yeah.
a quick question, just kind of spawning off of all that.
Yeah.
5-10 years down the line, do you ever see it moving outside of Nashville? I know you're from there; it's easy that way. But do you
Yeah.
ever see it spreading out, maybe doing other parts of the country
If-
or world or
If they
whatever?
are super duper difficult with this thing, because it's like if my audience with the mayor doesn't work out. No, I actually I've been talking with some of my Kenner people, and this is very, very non-existent. And I'm thinking of maybe doing something, and I haven't even talked. I'm going to talk to James Ford ahead of time. He does some stuff up there, but I was thinking maybe doing something for, I think it's the 40th or 50th anniversary of Kenner coming up in 2025.
Okay.
So I've been kind of kicking that around and maybe moving it for something like that. I have no want to not move it around and stuff. And I'd probably always do it in Nashville, but it's not like we could do one every 6 months if we wanted to move one of them or something like that.
Right.
But to tell you the truth, you have to have that 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people walking through the door fandom that you can just pop it in a different city and be like, come here. And they'll be like, okay. And
Florida.
We're growing it. Yeah. Florida. The problem is with Florida is where you go. You go to Orlando Convention Center. It's like, here's $40 billion and it's $95 per park.
Yeah.
And then everybody that flies down goes, oh, and we're going to stay an extra week and do Disney. So that's like, all right, every one of your attendees is spending 6 G's before they walk through the door.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good
you could
point.
do just toy shows instead of cons, like smaller ones spawn out. You could do ICC, take out a C.
Well, we love Nashville, so it's fun to come down anyway and do things. But
that's the hook with Nashville, man. It's a party too.
So we got a suggestion right here from our friend Pat on Collector. Joey says California ICCC in San Diego.
Joey says that. Man, he's a great guy. He was actually up on our stage this year.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, he was moderator. He's a friend of the channel too. Joey's been amazing, he's a
good
of us
dude,
here.
man.
But so yeah,
California is another problem. It's oversaturated.
Mm-hmm.
There's 12,000 conventions in California. How do you even break into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go.
I don't think they'd let me have a demolition derby, man. It's California. It's not like that's a deal breaker, but
that's the only thing we missed.
We didn't do the demolition.
We didn't do the demolition derby. I don't even know. We didn't really even think about it. I guess I don't know what happened there. But
well, we wanted to Seattle to go. Yeah, I was gonna say we were busy out on the hunt, and then we jetted to the hotel lobby, to try to catch some of those deals too.
Yeah.
So I always want there to be too much to do. That way, you always want to come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely. And so any final questions, guys? Here we just passed the 1 hour mark here. But anybody in the chat got a question for Mike? Now's the time. Anybody of our co-hosts here, if they got one last question, let's get it out there.
I have a thing. You see Jason Knox down there? He says we need an ICCC in New Jersey. Jason Knox, I don't know if you know this. Jason Knox, great collector, really nice guy, good friend. He made our app.
Oh, nice.
How good is that app?
It's
better than everybody's app.
Yeah,
and the reason why is that's hard, man.
I absolutely hate with a passion the Celebration app, dude.
Yeah.
So
my lord, like
whatever
they spend, whatever amount of money they spend on that, I don't care if it was $50. It was too much.
Yeah, we spent $0. Jason Knox killed himself for about 15 months, and there you go.
Dude, it is actually usable, responsive.
Yep.
The one from these guys, like from Celebration, it's lags. It doesn't load up, the maps when you need them to. So, oh my lord, no, don't get me started on that. But my hats off to you, Jason. You absolutely amazing job. You killed it. One of the best, convention apps I can say. Not even just Star Wars conventions, just convention apps, dude. You freaking killed it. So my hat is up to you, good sir, and thank you.
He's a legit nerd. He's the guy who figured out about the prototype Imperial transport or whatever with the rocket firing. That's where rocket firing originally came from. The Imperial transport. He's the guy.
Oh wow,
so that's what I'm saying. Everybody is very, very qualified as an actual nerd. That
absolutely. Yeah, so there you go. Getting some prop, for the app, definitely yes. Thank you, Jason. So Joey asked, and I think we already sort of covered it, but any preliminary dates for ICC?
I gotta wait to talk to the mayor.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So it looks like Michael's gonna have to go up, and talk to the King of England, before he can get
right.
things settled here for next year. But trust us when we say we are all just waiting for that announcement, man. We
I'm
are
booking my hotel right away.
I can't plan
Right.
anything without a date.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, we are totally sold on it. Honestly, it's just a matter of getting the dates, and we are all there for sure.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. Again, you've heard, I think combined we've done maybe like 12 videos worth of of the actual convention.
Yeah, you guys
More
are
than that.
Yeah, probably more than that. You're right. Between shorts, between Instagram posts, all of that stuff, because it was I speak for myself, but I think also for everybody here. To me, it was more than just I have to do it because I'm press, right, and I got a press pass. Dude, it was legit because I was having a blast out there, right? I mean, I just wanted to share as much as I could with the world out there. Like, you guys need to be here, like straight up. You just gotta experience it. You just have to be here. Fell in love with the con. Like we've said many times, and we probably will say many more. It was, to me personally, and I told these guys, it was like a reunion of my best friends that I've never met. It was like a weird feeling of, I know these people, but I've never seen them. And I barely talked to some of them. OG Gig, I mentioned it to him, not to be creepy, but I was like, dude, I've seen your videos, for years, and we've never really spoken and stuff. And like he said, all it took was like a few hours, honestly, just us being out there, being on the hunt, and we were hanging out, all of that stuff. And like it's just it's like a conduit, right, to people that share your interest, that share your passion. And like we've mentioned, right, we all walked away, with new friends and with a newfound respect for you and for your staff and what you guys are trying to do out here. So thank you so much for that. Okay, chat. So we're gonna start wrapping up here. If you don't have any more questions, anybody here on the panel has any last questions? If not, we can go ahead and start wrapping up, because I don't want to keep Mike up.
I feel like I took over the show for the first half hour, so I'm not gonna ask anything else. Sorry.
Yeah,
No, that was
I'm
great.
good. I just want to say thank you again. Like I said, it was a blast. 2 years in a row, had the time of my life. Can't ask for anything more than that. So thank you.
Can't wait for next year.
Guys. Thank you.
Well,
I mean, all I got to say is just thank you again. And the minute those dates are announced, I'm booking my hotel instantly, same day. I'm like so ready. I'm hyped for that moment. So thanks again.
I'll give you guys a little bit of a warning. You follow me along, so I usually wrap myself out on a live sale or something ahead of time. But no, honestly, I literally personally have absolutely no idea myself. I am literally waiting on an audience with a mayor, which is bonkers to me. But
there you go.
But supposedly, the mayor is in charge of all of those 5 separate government institutions.
Oh, there you go.
So there is a head honcho.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Happens to be the mayor. I don't even know what I'm gonna say to him. Hey, listen, how you doing? I bring a sci-fi convention, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever, I'll pitch him. We'll do it.
Of course. You're kidding me? With all the success you've been having, I mean, with all the people you bring into the city too.
Right.
I mean,
it's not like you guys don't go to Starbucks in the morning.
Right.
You should get an address for us to put in our video so people could write a letter to the mail.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, boom.
Like when they're trying to pass the law and you got to write to the congressman.
Exactly.
We'll write to the mayor.
We'll get it done. Yeah. We'll rename it ICCville. just for the weekend at least.
ICCville, yeah. There you go.
ICCville.
Joey says, "Thank you, Michael, and the ICCC crew. Absolutely, you guys killed it. It's been amazing. All right, it was super fun. We, like I said, we've all gushed out about our good experiences there. We're all sold for next year. So yeah, it says very thrown in French. All right.
LeBlanc, he's a good guy, man. He's been an IC member shoot forever.
Yeah,
I reckon
absolutely.
That, probably 2016 he's been an IC member. He's all the way up in Canada. We get people from Canada come down there. We got this one guy, Mark Alexander. He flies in from Australia every year. Oof. And I see him in the back because he never tells me. And I'll be like, Mark, and he's like, oh, good night, mate. I did. And it's like, super cool,
Hey,
man.
mate.
And he's
That's
been there
awesome.
since year one, dude. And that's like a 20-hour flight or something. It's murder.
Yeah,
I met him last year.
Yeah,
He was there
That
this
was-
year. I saw him at the Rebels panel.
nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I actually met some pretty cool guys from Argentina.
Oh, nice.
And they were there selling some of their miniature vintage style, figures. Those guys were nuts. They're like, oh yeah, this is our first time here.
I literally have some right here.
Oh,
But,
good job.
It's Juan Pablo, man. He
Yes.
makes awesome stuff. I actually
Yeah, he
buy
does.
from him. But here, I'll show your viewers one of them since I just
Yeah,
have them right
absolutely.
here. But they're JP custom, so I'll give him a shout out there. But he makes like the little card backs.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Like, but
Oh,
this
nice.
is like, here's like a regular boba.
Yeah,
So
they're small.
that's the size of it, right?
Yeah.
And then he makes the little tiny minifig.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
How
so
cool
cool.
is that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look at that.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Isn't that neat?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I picked up.
Oh yeah,
both,
there it is.
I picked up
Nice.
both the exclusives
detail.
he took for the ICCC.
Nice.
Yeah.
he
The
made some really cool ones, man. I
yeah.
have-
The
I don't know if I
holographic
have
emperor.
Greedo right here, but I don't. But they're so cool, and there's all different ones. But
Oh,
this
yeah.
was the Cantina pack, and it came with this backdrop.
Oh no way! That's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
And it has the
Yes.
4 different Cantina figures, the
Right.
Hammerhead and Walrus, and he does
That's
great
awesome.
stuff, man. I
He
always
does.
talk about him, but he's a sweetheart, and I have him on the hunt for me because I need. Let me try to get it to. There we go. Because I have, I need the Doriana margarine tops from Argentina. They're 40-year-old pieces of garbage, so I'm looking for them for everybody out there.
Mm.
There you
They're
go.
Tops from margarine, and they have little Star Wars guys on them,
Yes.
and they are garbage,
Wow.
but I'll pay you $500 a piece for them.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So we got our man Legacy of Nerd here doing a little bit of a campaigning on my behalf. He says Kenobi is an excellent interviewer. Hint, hint.
Hint,
He's
hint.
like panels. Kenobi has a smooth voice. Thank you for that.
There you go.
There you
Appreciate
You
you,
gotta
brother.
talk to
Thank you.
David Longwater on those. He's the one who pulls all the triggers. He's the one who got Joey.
Yeah,
He just was
yeah.
like, can Joey do it? I'm like, of course, dude. I don't care whatever
course.
you do. As long as the stage doesn't burn down, I'm fine with it.
Exactly. Well, by that bar, I think I should be okay.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so all right. Thank you so much for joining us here, man. This was an absolute blast. This will not be the last time we talk to you for sure. All right.
Oh yeah.
This was, thank you. I want to give a big shout out to my man here, Joe. The purchaser of all deals out there in ICC.
Everything.
Killed it. Yeah, exactly. He just he was winning from like the first 30 seconds that the show opened.
You got lucky.
But yeah, dude, I would
Yeah.
say like extra lucky. So and I want to say thank you because Joe actually reached out to Michael, to make some of this stuff happen. So thank you so much for that, Joe. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Man,
And
man, thanks for doing it, man. I appreciate it, Michael. Like I said, all these guys, man. Thank you all for doing this. It was fun. Yeah.
You guys always write, and you're always like, oh, I don't know if you're too busy or if you want to do that. I always want to do it. I always
Yeah.
want to do it. You guys are growing the community. That's the whole point. If we all grow it that way, when I bust a hip when I'm 80 years old, I can have somebody to sell my Boba Fett stuff.
Yeah, I just
There you go.
after all the hell you've been through the past few months, you probably want a break. That's why I'm like, are you ready to do anything yet? Let me know.
That's
I
it,
didn't
man.
want
I'm
to
not fishing. I'm just waiting on the mayor. If I had a darn answer, I'd have some good stuff for you, but
Yeah.
I got nothing.
yeah,
maybe,
well,
maybe
we are
we'll do this again
Two
September-ish.
Little mini guys, they're awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe do
Yeah,
it again
exactly.
in September or something. I mean, maybe you might know more by then. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, man.
what happens.
Yeah, you can definitely just keep an eyeball on me. I have a hard time keeping things under my hat once they're going. You'll see that. Yeah, no, I have no idea as of right now. I don't even have the date set, but I am on a schedule for a callback, whatever that means. But I mean, I'm not picking, and I hope he's not watching right now. But I mean, it's just the mayor of Mount Juliet. I'm sure I can get up. But
Yeah, right.
no, it's just it's more, I got to figure out a way that those different places can work together. Like, I don't know if
Sure.
you noticed, but there was like some guy on a power trip that decided to put my helicopter in the paid parking lot on Saturday morning. Which was so I got to fix that, and that's why I need to talk to the mayor.
No wonder it was landing there when we got there.
What was that about? Who does
Yeah.
that? I had a whole
Yeah.
separate section with a golf cart and a cage, and
We did enjoy the alcohol truck for
nice,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Yep.
go. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
helped some
So
of
we
our
got
bargains
booze. We
too.
got the food trucks. That was a nice change.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, pretty good variety too, and you
I
know,
know
maybe
for-
it's something we didn't talk about, but honestly, like the prices were really not that bad. Like they
That's
were,
what
you
we're
know,
going for.
super accessible. Like honestly, both like in the con, like stuff that we bought. You know, well, I mean, Joe can for sure attest to that. Like he made out like a bandit. But you know, I think all of us got some pretty good deals. You know,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
all of the stores were very accessible
Yeah.
at that. And then the same thing, you know, when it comes to the food, the drinks, like you just mentioned, right? Like that's an actual thought, you know, like that's an actual plan for to make it affordable. So I appreciate that because you know, I drink like 7 Cokes a day, so
Yeah.
I
Oh, he
appreciate
does.
you.
He
We
does.
tried to do a commemorative cup. That's actually what I'm drinking out of. We
There
tried
you
to do a refillable commemorative cup, and they couldn't get us soda fountain machines because of COVID, supposedly.
Oh,
But they
no
don't
way.
have them anymore. So I have
Yikes.
like a billion of these cups. If you need any cups,
Absolutely.
go on to
yeah.
my
Hey, I'll
wife's
take
website.
them.
Here, I'll pitch my wife's website,
Yeah.
ictoysnashville.com, and any
All right.
ICCC merch, T-shirts, collectible cups that I have like 20,000 of. All that stuff's for sale. If there's any leftover or
Mhm.
anything like that, that's where we
Nice.
sell all the leftovers.
Nice.
There isn't much from many previous years, but every once in a while, something will get found in a box or a bin, and it goes up there. So, wow, thanks. There you go. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you check it out, just I don't know, man, like these cups, and I'm not even trying to pitch it, but I'm drinking out of it, and it's literally hypercolor cup, man. Like I mean,
Nice. Oh yeah, I see that.
like.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, fancy.
And that's what I'm saying.
Nice.
And these were my hook because I was going to give them, and it was going to be $30 all weekend, and you get free soda. And then we
Oh,
couldn't get soda
wow.
fountains.
I would have bought 2 just
So
for
I have
myself.
like a bazillion
Yeah.
of these cups. I think we had a couple of them up at the con store because it was like whatever. But it's such a cool cup. And so I
Yeah.
don't know, but by next year maybe I'll buy my own soda fountain machine.
Boom. There
Yeah.
you go.
Kind
There
of
you
things
go.
I
are
know-
driving me nuts, man.
I know Jose could have used it because the first night we went
Oh,
out
yeah.
to dinner, and the waitress takes the order, and he orders a soda, and before she leaves the table, he's like, "Can I have another one?" And I'm like, "Jesus Christ!" Like I thought I drank a lot of soda, but like,
Oh, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah,
I
that
would have
was
bought,
funny.
We
you
had
know,
the hookup for you.
Yeah,
man. It was
exactly.
supposed
That-
to be-
that
you
would've
were
been
supposed to
perfect
just
for
be
me.
able to walk up. And
dude,
then
I would have
that's
bought
off.
2 just,
Oh.
you know, just to keep the flow like
he's,
going.
he's like, "Please, can I have some more?" Like Oliver Twist over here. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
But like
Well, here,
even like,
top tip for next time you're visiting Tennessee. We live in a state where it's totally cool at the end of every meal if you just say, "Hey, can I have one to go?" and they will give you a soda to go. for
oh
free.
man, if you would have only known that, holy moly!
I mean, I would have asked for 7, but yeah, for sure.
Now you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
I'll do it.
You'd be
Yeah,
like, hey,
absolutely.
listen, we're out of here. All right, later, Waffle House. Can I get a Coke to go? And they'll be like, sure.
Yeah.
Nice. There
But
you
the
go.
alcohol truck
tip.
definitely came in handy because one time we walked outside to get some air or whatever, and my wife and OG's wife are sitting there and they're drinking these Boba Fett drinks or whatever from the truck. So I'm like, well, at least they have something to do while we're going back in here and spend some more
Yeah.
money. They're
Oh,
occupied.
yeah.
They have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also backfired because it was too close to the truck. So I think they spent more money on the liquor than we did with the toys.
Yeah, I think we got beat. Yeah.
Because they were there
Yeah.
all. My wife didn't walk inside all day.
Yeah,
She
because they would like
sat there
she would pay for
drinking
the
Boba
whole.
Fetts.
She would pay for all of them first, and then my wife would go over there and pay for them. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna go in and buy something else then because like I got the open door now because you're spending too much
Exactly.
money here.
Not to
Yeah.
mention, we walk out and they're sitting with Vader.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was a total blast all around,
Yeah,
man. So
yeah.
thanks again. I know we've said it a million times. We'll say it a million more. Appreciate everything you do. Appreciate, you and your staff. Please pass along our thanks to all of them.
Course.
You guys killed it. Again, I think it's pretty obvious that we are big fans of your convention and of yourself. So thank you once again. Thank you to everybody here in the chat, guys. Appreciate you all being super, super active. If I could just ask one last thing, don't forget to leave your like on the stream before you exit. supposedly tells YouTube, we did a good job. So we would appreciate it if you do that for us. I also dropped some links for everything ICCC, the Facebook, the Instagram, the actual official store, and one last time here we got Michael's store page right here where you can go off and buy some of the merch. So definitely go check that out as well. Thank you so much to Rolando for dropping all those links as usual, man. Thank you. You are the best moderator out there. So without anything else, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we will definitely talk in the future. We are all very much waiting just on those new dates. Hopefully, the mayor gets a few letters and he's like, all right, we're going to make this
Send us
happen.
the address, bro.
Exactly. We'll just make it happen.
I don't know what it is. I'll find out, man. I'll find out. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
we'll have to take over Tennessee Titan Stadium. That'll be
Exactly.
there you
You
go.
know what? I was looking into that, man. But the problem is that only the club levels are accessible. So the thing is that's why they're ripping it up and they're putting in a new like $4 billion stadium or something.
Right.
It's because it was built before. It's really weird, man. Like the 303 section in Titan Stadium, it's like 5-mile long ramps and there is no elevator kind of situation. It's really weird stadium.
Huh.
So no, it wouldn't work. Sorry, I know you were just saying it, but I was like, I tried that, man.
I tried.
I did, yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. Let's take it over. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank
you so much, on behalf of everybody here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being an awesome co-host. Thank you for being an amazing guest, Michael. Thank you again for everything that you have done for the community and for us personally, right? We had an absolute blast out there. So everybody have a good night. Have an awesome rest of your week. Real quick housekeeping. There will be no high ground this Wednesday. I have a big thing going on. So I'll catch up with you guys later. But please, if you could go check out my 2-year on YouTube stream that happened last night. It was also a blast. So thank you to everybody that participated there. Some of the gentlemen right here also that participated last night. And to the giveaway winners, I will be trying to mail those giveaway prizes this week. So if you haven't, please message me on Instagram with your address. And that's it. All right, everybody have a good night. Thank you so much again. And may the force be with you.
Thank you.